Consent. This is a huge piece of yoni massage, a huge piece of life almost. Consent when it comes to yoni massage, especially with a practitioner like myself who's been trained to the gold standard level with Temple of She. You will not be coming into a space where we work with assumed consent. And assumed consent is you've appeared for your appointment, so you must want it, right? It's not informed consent where you've rocked up for your session and then we go through the pre-start chat and I walk you through what the session is going to be like. Again, we would have already had the chat, but we have it again in person before any body work begins. And if you're smiling and nodding, that is informed consent, and I don't work with informed consent. Just because you're smiling and nodding because you've heard what I've said does not give me permission to do yoni work on you. We work with embodied consent. Doesn't matter that you've rocked up for your appointment. It doesn't matter that you smiled and nodded and said, okay, yep, I understand. When we transition from body work to yoni work, embodied consent must be given. So before I massage before I massage the vulva, the inner, the outer labia, the clitoris, the pubic bone, before I touch any of that, I ask for a very audible, out loud and clear yes or no if I have consent to work in that area. And the receiver is given as much time as they need to feel into their body, and if it is a yes or a no. It might even be a maybe. A maybe is not a yes. A maybe is give me some time. A maybe is let's just have a little conversation. A maybe is actually a no. All right? So if there is no clear yes, yoni work does not begin. Perhaps a yes was given and then it changes to a maybe or a no. And it can. Consent is fluid. Just because you said yes, I no longer assume that it's yes permanently. Right? Consent is fluid. And the same goes from the transition from the external vulval work to the internal vaginal massage. Consent must be given, and it must be audible, out loud and clear for embodied consent in that moment. Just because I've massaged externally, I do not assume that I have consent to work internally. That is a huge, huge piece that must be adhered by all practitioners, and especially if practitioners like myself who've gone through the gold standard training with Temple of She, there are no if, buts, or maybes about that. Consent must be embodied in the moment, and you as the receiver have full permission in that it could be fluid. It can change. The yes can change to a no. The no can change to a yes. A maybe might slide in there, and I'm not sure. Can we chat some more? I have some questions, whatever. We are the conduit for your experience, and your experience dictates what we have consent to do. You have the power, and we hold space for you as you explore that, as you claim it back for yourself, and as you sit within it. So that is why consent is so important when it comes to yoni work.